Welcome to Architrave Gaming. I'm Matthias, the Archmaster. So, I just beat Outer Wilds, first time. Absolutely phenomenal game. Go out and buy it, spend whatever you have to, get Outer Wilds, play Outer Wilds. Don't look up anything, no reviews, no videos, nothing, absolutely zero. Trust me. Buy the game, play the game blind. It's really interesting. Okay, with that out of the way, and no, they didn't ask me to say that. No one has to ask anyone to recommend the Outer Wilds. Seriously. All right, so playing it, I realized something, or rather I had something I already knew confirmed, okay? So here's what it is. I have been working my game philosophy for a while, and I got to a point where I'm thinking, you know what? I think it's actually best to have a sandbox world, like the thing that I enjoy the most, that I think a lot of other people would probably enjoy if they really got to play this thing. An open world, a sandbox, where everything is already pre-prepared by the GM, pre-made, and set. The GM does not fudge anything. They don't put something somewhere because they think it should be there, or because, oh, the players, they need it, or, the current adventure needs this to happen, so I'll make it happen. None of that. Absolutely zilch. The GM just makes the game. It's like a video game where the GM makes the world completely done, it's finished, and he gives it to the players and lets them play it, and it's like a video game. The GM does not change anything as they go. They only play what they already prepare. I think that would be the best experience ever. I know it's kind of hard to do. It's a lot to ask of a GM to, like, hey, by the way, make the entire world and, have all your notes handy and never improvise and just do the thing that you've already prepared. That's an enormous undertaking, but I still think it's the most fun for the players. I think it's the most phenomenal thing ever, and playing Outer Wilds confirmed it. In that game, it's so much fun because the developer trusts the player. They trust the player's curiosity. They trust the player to take the lead. The developer does not try to hold your hand and be your daddy and tell you, hey, here's to go. Here's where you go. There's your quest marker. Here's the next thing you have to do. Oh, by the way, you completed this objective. Here's the next one. And we're going to give you a recap in your journal to tell you what happened in case you forgot. Because, you might be a little baby. I don't know. So here's the next objective. Oh, do that one, little baby. They don't treat you like a baby. They don't give you a quest journal. They don't tell you what to do. There are no objectives. They just trust you. They treat you like an adult. It's so refreshing to play a game that's like, hey, I trust you to handle this game on your own. I'm not going to hold your hand. You're free. It's like, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for actually just letting me do what I want in the game and trusting me. Okay? Letting me have the consequences of my actions and letting my failures feel my own and therefore letting my successes feel like my own because I did it because you weren't holding my hand and you weren't telling me what to do. You weren't giving me question markers. I did the whole thing myself like a big boy, right? That's the kind of gameplay I want. So in Outer Wilds, you have no objectives, no question markers, nothing. You just play the game, and everything that you could do at the end of the game after you've, done all your progression, you could have done day one if you knew how. There are no levels, there's no gated progression, there's no, well, you can't do that yet because you haven't leveled up, or you don't have the ability, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you can literally do anything if you know how to do it. There are no blocks anywhere. Anything that you want to do, if you know how, you can do it at any time. And that's just, so I've never had an experience like that in gaming. I've known that this was the way it's supposed to be in D&D, in tabletop adventure games, where the GM gives you the world and says, hey, here's the world. You're a player in it, or a character. Have fun. The world is your oyster. Do what you want. The GM is not supposed to be like, I have this pre-written module, Curse of Strahd, and you're supposed to do all these things, and so I'm going to tell you my novel, and you come along for the ride. We're not supposed to do that. It's not what D&D is supposed to be. You're not supposed to have modules. You're not supposed to have Curse of Strahd. You're not supposed to have any of that stuff. What you're supposed to have is an open world where the players get to do their own thing. And you trust them to do it. It is so much fun. If you played the Outer Wilds and you love it, you know what I'm talking about. That's what D&D should be. It's what it always should have been. So playing Outer Wilds confirmed it. It's like, yes, I actually finally, I've been pipe dreaming this, like, man, wouldn't that be so much fun to just have the world be open and consistent, and where I go in and the GM says, hey, by the way, there's, the king in the castle and the lich in his evil lair, and the golds are sitting on, 10,000 pieces of gold. It's like, cool. I assassinate the king. I go in, I do all the things to make it happen. And the GM's like, oh, well, you assassinated the king. Here's what logically would happen. And he makes everything go. And then you're like, great. I try to set up a dynasty. It's like, well, here's what happens. This other guy wants to die. Actually giving the consequences of your actions and letting you play the game. Instead, what we have in Modern 5e is, well, you can't kill the king because I didn't plan for it. The module says you have to do something else. It's like, no, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to have total, complete freedom. Play the Outer Wilds, and then you know how to be a good GM. Build your world like the developers built Outer Wilds. Let the player have total freedom and let them do what they want. Of course, in Outer Wilds, you can't just shoot laser beams out of your eyes because you feel like it. Yeah, I'm not saying let them do whatever they say they want to do, but whatever they can do, whatever they can figure out, whatever they can actually make happen, let it happen. Don't ever put any sort of artificial walls in there and say, well, you can't do that because X. No reason. There's no reason why you as the GM shouldn't allow them to do something that they can actually do. If they can get their character to do it, and you as the GM making a fair ruling, you're like, yeah, you did that, then never, ever, ever stop it, right? It's the same thing with fudging dice. Don't stinking fudge your dice. Stop it. No, you're not allowed to. It's cheating. Don't. Anyway, it was just so validating. You're like, yeah, I knew it. I knew you were supposed to be able to have complete freedom and do what you wanted. And, it's so cool. Just give them the sandbox. Say, here's the world. You can do whatever. And say, yeah, roll on all your magic item and your treasure tables beforehand. Yes, this may take months or years to do. I think it's worth it. I think you're a true game master. You're a world master when you do this, okay? Roll on all the treasure tables and all the magic item tables, build all your NPCs, pick all the names, blah, blah, blah. Flesh out the world entirely. Put all of the flame tongues in all their spots. This is in the 5th level of that dungeon with 20 gold next to it, blah, blah, blah. Put it all in your notes if it has to be digital, physical, whatever. Build the world, and then let the players loose and never change anything. Never say, oh, well, they're level 6 and they haven't gotten a magic item yet. I guess I'll move this one over here so they have it. No, stop it. Don't you dare. Bad GM, don't do it, okay? Let the players do it. When the players know that you're not babying them, you're not being their daddy, you're not controlling anything, you're not making sure everyone has fun. That's not your job. It's their job to make sure they have fun. It's not yours. They're not paying you. Are they paying you? No, then it's not your job to make sure they have fun. It's their job. They're the players sitting down to play the game. Stop putting that burden on yourself and don't let other people put the burden on you. If they're not paying you, it's not your job to make sure they have fun. It's their job to make sure they have fun. That's what they showed up to play. I mean, come on. If you sit down to play a video game, it's your job to make sure you have fun. Okay? And even then, you paid the other guy. So really, it should be his job. But even then, it's still your own job. How much more so in a tabletop game, right? With your friend. You're not paying him. It's not his job to make sure you have fun. Stop it. So, flesh everything out. Put all the items and all the NPCs and all the treasure and the magic. Put everything everywhere. And I'm not saying that, you have to do this once and then you can never touch it. It's your world. You get to keep adding to it over time and whatnot. But during gameplay, okay? Never move something around. And this includes, the next session prep after. While you're in an active adventure with an active group, never move something around to benefit the characters, what you think is a benefit, or to hurt them somehow. Well, I don't think they should kill the king, so I'm going to give him spectral bodyguards that just came out of nowhere. Never, ever, ever do that. Because it ruins this true experience that I'm talking about, it ruins it for the players, and it robs them of it. When the players know that they are actually playing in a real world, and it's consistent, and there's a flame tongue in somewhere, right? You can even tell them, by the way, there are 3 flame tongues in the world. Or there can be in-game legends and whatnot. Oh yeah, there's the flame tongue wielded by the ancient hero Nosferatu in the 3rd level of White Plume Mountain Dungeon, so they say. You give that to them and you never change it and you never move it around, regardless of their level. Let them stand on their own 2 feet and be big boys. Watch them. If they're human beings, they're probably going to love it, especially if they're men. People in this modern world have so little freedom. We're hardly treated like adults or able to even be adults. When we go to our game, we want that, whether we know it or not. And when you give it to them, they will love it. Let them treat them like adults. Give them freedom and responsibility and say, hey, here's the world. It's up to you to make the most of it. If you want a flame tongue, you're going to have to find it. And once they realize that you're not pulling any punches and you're not changing things and you're not being their daddy and holding their hand and changing their diaper and you are just sitting back and be like, you're an adult, figure it out yourself. They're going to be, thank you. That's very refreshing, GM. I'm an adult. Thank you very much. Let me actually play the game. Let them play the game. Stop playing the game for them. Let them do it. Don't guide them. No guiding, no holding hands, no leading them around. If they're 7 and they just started D&D for the first time, go ahead. But if it's any sort of adult, don't do it. They're grown-ups, they can do it themselves. They can take care of themselves, okay? Give them that consistent world and let them do what they want in it and just watch. They will so enjoy the freedom. I played Outer Wilds and I so enjoyed the freedom, and now all I want is to, well, not really play because I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not much of a player. I kind of forever GM, but I want to play or GM my own world. Like I got the fire lit under me. It's like, great, I already have a world, but now I want to make a big old setting and flesh out every single detail of it. I've already planned to do this eventually, essentially make my own tabletop video game, you know, essentially like here's all the design, here's all the towns and all the NPCs and everything in every town, and, you know, have it as complete as something like Skyrim, and then give that to them. Well, not, I mean, it'd be behind the screen, but present that to them and be like, all right, here's the world that's completely consistent, right? They walk into a tavern and I say, cool, I go on my world anvil and I click the map and I, you know, click that city and I click that tavern and I click owner and it gives me the name of the owner and his, you know, his personality traits and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great, cool. Hello, I'm Bob, the owner of the tavern, and I do the thing, you know, like having everything where I just click on it and it gives me all the information everywhere in the whole world, right? That's my dream. But now I actually want to do it. Now I actually intend to do it because this is the only way I think I'm willing to play. It's just it just respects the individual. It respects the player. It says, yeah, I actually think you're competent. I'm going to treat you like a competent grown-up adult, and I'm not going to hold your hand. I mean, we're doing an adventure game, for goodness sake. You're not 3. Why am I holding your hand? Why does D&D hold your hand? It's such a lackluster experience because they don't trust you to play the game. They want to always have one hand on the reins or like a hand on the wheel and make sure they're touching the cruise control and they have their own brakes in case like someone else is helping you drive, and it doesn't make you feel good or competent if someone else is always co-driving. You know those student driving cars where there's a like a driving wheel or the brake pedals and whatnot on the passenger side, and so your driving instructor sits there with his own wheel and his own brakes and whatnot, and he controls it with, yeah, he's letting you drive, but whenever he wants, he can take over. That doesn't make you feel like a grown-up, competent adult, and it's not fun. There's something thrilling about weight, about carrying the weight of something, carrying the weight of responsibility. When you know, oh wait, it all rests on my shoulders. If I walk up to the king and insult him, the GMs can say, oh well, the King's guards throw you in jail and execute you the next day. Roll up a new character. And no, I'm not going to protect you from that. I'm not going to say, oh, but he loves his character. Let me break him out of jail because some mysterious stranger wants his help. Like, no, I'm just going to let the thing happen. When that happens once and the GM just lets it happen and the player realizes, wait, I have to make a new character, they're going to make that new character with reckless abandon, and they're going to say, dude, I want to play this world so bad. I get to do whatever I want, and it's real, and the real consequences. That means if I play my cards right, I'll actually win. I'll actually do something cool. If you don't let them fail when they play their cards wrong, then they don't really succeed when they play their cards right. You have to show them, hey, you can fail. You can play your cards wrong and get executed in order for them to know, in order for them to really know that it's possible for them to play their cards right and win. It's like, hey, well, if the king has the power to just execute me, and he will, that means the GM is playing it straight. They're playing a consistent world. Well, that means if I help the king and I serve him and I become a knight or something, then the king is going to give me riches and honor and power and glory. That's cool. Let me do that. You have to show them that you're not holding their hand, you're not babying them, there are no guardrails. They have complete freedom and power to do what they want. And you're not going to sway it one way or the other. You are just playing it straight, right? You have to do that in order for them to really have the most fun they can have gaming. I know I've pretty much said the same thing like 4 times. Anyway, absolutely try it. If you don't really know what I'm talking about, play Outer Wilds, not The Outer Worlds. That's a different game. Play Outer Wilds. It's a space game. Super mega fun. Don't even read the Steam page. Don't even look at it. Don't. Just buy it, download it, play it, have zero anything going in. I'm serious. This is one of those games where it's all about knowledge. You don't get any in-game upgrades or anything. There's no in-game progression. It's just what you know. So if you know anything about the game, that is something that you have spoiled, and you'll never be able to actually learn that in-game in a fun way. You just learned it out of a game, and it spoiled it for you, right? Spoilers are like the worst thing that could ever happen to this game, right? Don't do any spoilers. Anyway, Patreon, if you want to keep funding this madness, and comment below if you feel like joining my team and you like my game design philosophies, because Lord willing, in the next hopefully a very short amount of time, we'll actually be, building this, and I can be doing it full time, hopefully, and all that cool stuff. Anyway, feed the algorithm, like and subscribe, all that stuff. God bless, have a good day.